If this isn't the start of a Cold War, then somebody inform me what is.
How is allowing 600,000 students from the communist country of China putting America first?
And there's only one thing I wish for, that Nobel Committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel this Nobel Award was ever talked about.
I just don't understand it. For the life of me, those are 600,000 spots that American kids won't get.
And for those who listen to the whole discussion, also will have noticed that Pakistan is part of this picture in a major, major way.
We don't have all the cards because it's not necessarily the case that we have everything we need, from rare earths to, and we'll get into the other issues.
Okay, he's choosing Xi over Modi, choosing Pakistan over India. You see, Trump is definitely lashing out against the Modi here in what looks to many to be a Cold War. It's not a secret. This is what it looks like. This is what a Cold War looks like. But who's getting the better end of the deal? I mean, who has more to gain, who has more to lose in it all? It might be like neither of the two here, getting the better end of the deal. First, we go to Trump, again, firing off that he stopped the India-Pakistan war from escalating. And with India's denial of his mediation, or at least Trump's actual effect of the outcome, Trump and his cabinet of belly soothers seem to be egging him on, like, to continue this talk, because, like they say, if you can say something enough times, people will start to believe it. I mean, take a look. He said it again.
And there's only one thing I wish for, that Nobel Committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the this Nobel Award was ever talked about, to receive that reward. Beyond your success is game-changing out in the world today. And I hope everybody one day wakes up and realizes that.
I'll tell you what, in my opinion, if I didn't win this race, Ukraine could have ended up in a world war. We're not going to end up in a world war anymore, but it would have ended up possibly in a world war. That would have been they were ready to trot. But just like India and Pakistan, we're going to end up in a nuclear war if I didn't stop them. You know, it's sort of strange. I saw they were fighting. Then I saw 7 jets were shot down. I said, that's not good. That's a lot of jets, you know. $150 million planes were shot down. A lot of them, 7, maybe more than that. They didn't even report the real number. And I'm talking to a very terrific man, Modi of India. And I say, what's going on with you in Pakistan? Then I'm talking to Pakistan on trade. I said, what's going on with you in India? And the hatred was tremendous. Now, this has been going on for a hell of a long time, like sometimes with different names for hundreds of years. But I said, what's going on? I said, I don't want to make a trade deal. No, we want to make a trade deal. I said, no, I don't want to make a trade deal with you. You're going to have a nuclear war. You guys are going to end up in a nuclear war. And that was very important to them. I said, call me back tomorrow, but we're not going to do any deals with you, or we're going to put tariffs on you that are so high. You were there, Howard, right? Yep. You're going to put tariffs on you that was so high, I don't give a damn. Your head's going to spin. You're not going to end up in a war. Within about 5 hours, it was done. It was done. Now, maybe it starts again. I don't know. I don't think so, but I'll stop it if it does.
Now, we couple that with Modi's new affair with China, right? China, of course, would like to know how they could get some clout in India, as Modi and Jaishankar just met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in New Delhi, which he laid the groundwork for Modi and Jaishankar maybe to meet with China President Xi Jinping in this month. That's so weird. This is all weird. Anyway, now Trump makes another bold move from his desk that most of his voters are angry with. They're angry with him again. His base is angry with him again because he just enabled 600,000 Chinese students access to the most prestigious universities in the United States. 600,000. Take a look.
It's very important.
Mr. Secretary, with all due respect, How is allowing 600,000 students from the communist country of China putting America first?
Well, the president's point of view is that what would happen if you didn't have those 600,000 students is that you'd empty them from the top. All the students would go up to better schools, and the bottom 15% of universities and colleges would go out of business in America. So his view is he's taking a rational economic view, which is classic Donald Trump, looking at higher education and saying,
but why are you
until
helping
we
Harvard?
Modify that.
That just
What's
helps
that?
Harvard and UCLA and UCal Berkeley and I mean you're all helping those schools. Why? They're like basically factories of anti-American propaganda. And now they're getting a big influx of cash because of the Chinese students. I know President Trump has always been very pro-Chinese student. I just don't understand it for the life of me. Those are 600,000 spots that American kids won't get.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm involved in. I'm involved in changing the H-1B program, right? We're going to change that
that's a
program
scam.
because that's terrible, right? We're going to change the green card. You know, we give green cards. The average American makes $75,000 a year, and the average green card recipient, $66,000. So we're taking the bottom quartile.
Right.
Like, why are we doing that? That's why Donald Trump is going to change it. That's the gold card that's coming. And that's we're going to start picking the best people to come into this country. It's time for that to change.
I think our American engineering students need to be given the first role at every job. And I think they're brilliant when given half a chance.
Notice how Trump's advisor there just threw that off like, yeah, that's not me. That's not me. I'm doing the HB1 thing, and I'm going to take care of all this other stuff. But well, I don't know what's going on there because people are really not happy with what's going on there. And with all of the mayhem and confusion as Modi makes his rounds and Trump counters with his deck of cards, like he likes to call it, we see another bold move by Trump that many of his voters are saying is like a form of socialism, communism, kind of. I mean, as he makes a deal with Intel, privately owned company, which seems sort of a communistic approach to some matters. And for those who listen to the whole discussion, also will have noticed and see that Pakistan is part of this picture in a major, major way. Take a look.
President Trump is not just making us safer, he's also making us richer. We're raking in billions of dollars from the tariffs, and now Trump has signed a deal giving the U.S. a 10% stake in the tech company Intel.
I said, I'd like you to give 10% of Intel to the United States of America. Not to me, to the United States of America. And I said, if you have them as a partner, you have the United States as a partner, I think that would be a very good thing for Intel. And he thought about it, a little bit different, and he said, I like that idea very much. We have a deal. And I just made $10 billion or $11 billion for the United States of America. But I hope I'm going to have many more cases like it.
The president's gotten an unlikely supporter of the deal, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, because he says if microchip companies make a profit from the generous grants they receive from the federal government, the taxpayers of America have a right to a reasonable return on that investment. Here with me exclusively, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Well, isn't it also the case that if we don't have an independent supply of chips, microchips into the United States, I mean, it's really an open question of whether, Mr. Secretary, we can remain a free and independent country. Because right now, we don't have all the cards because it's not necessarily the case that we have everything we need from rare earths to, and we'll get into the other issues, rare earths to shipbuilding to, of course, chips. And this cuts to the heart of that deficit, does it not?
Well, you're right on it. So we need to make semiconductors in America. We need to make antibiotics in America. We need the rare earths in America. And that's exactly what the Trump administration is all about. So the Japanese agreement, which we're going to announce later this week, that's $550 billion at the hand of Donald Trump, and he can go invest it to hit all these points.
Well, not surprisingly, Senator Paul slammed the Intel deal, basically equating it with socialism, saying that, socialism is government owning the means of production. Wouldn't the government be owning a part of Intel be a step towards socialism?
Semiconductors, materials and rare earth minerals. We can see that this smooths out and kind of covers up Trump's shady dealings with Pakistan now. Pakistan gets to play the role as a credible business partner with the U.S. if they just came out saying that Pakistan has approximately $50 trillion of untouched rare minerals. in an interaction published by Jang Media.
Coming in this time again from the Pakistani army chief itself, flaunting their rare earth lure this time. Just take us through some more details of it.
Yeah, Pakistan is very good at in selling the notion of victory as well as the selling of notion of success. Pakistan's army chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has been selling this idea to the international community, especially the U.S. State Department and the Trump administration, that by investing in Pakistan, U.S. is going to get benefited a lot in terms of the rare earth minerals or hydrocarbons. We have seen the recent statement by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, on the Independence Day of Pakistan, wherein he mentioned about the potential hydrocarbon and the mineral cooperation between Pakistan and United States.
Asim Munir just said that Pakistan has rare earth treasure. With this treasure, Pakistan's debt will also be reduced, and Pakistan will soon be counted among the most prosperous countries. Which makes people wonder, where did, first of all, Asim Munir all of a sudden become a wizard in economics? See, that probably has a lot to do with Donald Trump's business partners making their trips to Pakistan during the last 4 years off in that season while Trump was out of office. Because Trump cannot run for office for another 4 years. He just can't. So offending his base doesn't hold water than it used to. It really doesn't matter. It's not about making friends. He's about making money. That's no secret. But how far is he willing to go to insist to the world that he doesn't make bad deals? Because the majority of Americans are very confused by this person who has changed so much. He's changed so much in a short period of time. So again, if this isn't the start of a Cold War, then somebody inform me what is.